Hey everyone, welcome to DittDott, a cooking and product review channel. My name's Amanda. Today I'm actually doing a review on my own personal FoodSaver vacuum sealer. It is something that I've owned for I think about 8 years, and I've had a couple people request for me to go into an in-depth review about my FoodSaver, so figure today is the day. Okay, so this is my FoodSaver, and like I said, I think I've had it for about 8 years. I've gotten so much use out of it. And so I'm going to talk specifically about this one. This model or one very similar is still for sale, so I will link an Amazon affiliate link down below. And this one has a lot of bells and whistles, and you can get some that are much more simple, or this one that I think might be like a top of the line one. This was a gift from my mom several years ago. So my recommendation is look at your budget, and when you're picking out a FoodSaver, buy the one that has the most features that fit your budget. Because even if you just have the basic FoodSaver, it's going to vacuum seal in pouches and be really good for saving food. And if you have a little bit more budget, the extra attachments that I'm going to show you can make saving food much more flexible and do cool things that I'm going to talk about using other attachments like Marinade. So this one has this little compartment down at the bottom which collects liquid. So I don't know if they all have this, like the lower end ones, but if you are vacuum sealing something that has maybe a little bit more moisture in it, it'll collect in this reservoir, so you can clean that out occasionally. This one stores the bags inside here. This one's really cool because it's got basically a plastic cutter right here. And so you can create whatever custom size bag you want. And that is really handy because that way, if you're just saving something small, or if you need a bigger bag, you can choose what size bag you need. And then otherwise, you can also buy pre-cut bags, and I like to use those too sometimes. And then this attachment right here is used for a lot of things. And then we've got this attachment. So I will talk about these and see, this little piece of rubber has fallen off, but that's no big deal. It's, like I said, this thing's 8 years old. Okay, so I'm going to pull out some food and show you what this guy can do. Okay, so I moved back to this back counter to give me a little bit more space so that you can see what I'm actually doing. Okay, this is a pouch that I used a couple weeks ago to freeze something, and I just wanted to show you that, it seals up airtight. This is frozen solid now. I want to show you how I would reheat this. So there's two methods that I use depending on what the item is and how lazy I'm feeling, that kind of thing. So sometimes I'll just cut it open. The air will come back in, and usually something like this, you can pull it out. It separates from the plastic really easy, and it's just a frozen block of food that I will put on a bowl, cover with a paper towel or something, and microwave just like you would a TV dinner, right? Like just reheat it that way. And the second method that I use to reheat this is to bring a large pot of water up to boil, and then completely sealed, drop the whole thing in and let it cook for about, depending on how thick it is, it's going to take about 5 to 10 minutes. And I will use a pair of tongs to lift it up and then kind of just squeeze it a little bit, squeeze the meal. And that way I can kind of test if it's still frozen through or not. And that's how I usually try to indicate whether or not I think it's warmed through all the way. And then once you open it, you can kind of slide it out on your plate. And when you use this method, it tastes as fresh as the day you put it in the bag. So it's an excellent way to save, if you do bulk cooking, and then be able to have fresh meals. Now, I often will save in one portion. So this one's kind of big. It's probably more 2 portions. but oftentimes I usually save one portion of a lunch at a time. And so it's kind of like a way for me to just have little TV dinners that are homemade that I made. Other times I will save an entire family meal, like if I made a bunch of meatballs, and then I will vacuum seal all of the meatballs so that I can reheat them for a family dinner. Okay, well, let me go ahead and show you how I would make a bag. So first off, if you're not using the ones that are pre-cut, you need to determine how big a bag you want. And I'm the kind of person who really likes everything to be just super as precise as I can, but I've learned to make the bags a little bit bigger because you want kind of a room for error. If you make the bag too small, then that's more wasteful. So the way this works is I just pull out the section of bag that I need, and just like a paper cutter, you use that little blade. And then now this bag is open on both sides, so you have to seal it. So you feed it through, and there's a power button and then seal button. And it grabs it, this red light indicator will come on, and it just takes a few seconds, and it's going to heat seal the bottom of the bag. It spits it out, and now we have a line here on the bottom. And you want to make sure that you got it lined up and then it goes all the way to both ends. Okay, this is another little handy gadget that I have that holds bags open. It has nothing to do with the FoodSaver, but I like to use it to help hold a bag, especially when I'm doing something that's a little bit more liquidy. This is some leftover no peak stew. I have this up on the channel. I put it in a leftover container thinking I would eat it, but I've got too many leftovers stacking up in my refrigerator, and I know that this will be good later. So I want to go ahead and freeze it now before it runs in the fridge. So I'm just going to put it down in my FoodSaver bag. Normally I would do this the same night, like, oh, okay, I made too much, let's just go ahead and food save some. But I really thought that I was going to eat it, and then my leftovers just kind of got away from me. See, this folds flat, and then I just put it in the drawer with all of the other Ziploc bags. Okay, so I'm kind of like mashing it a little bit flatter, and then we are going to now stick this into the FoodSaver again. Then the red light comes on, that is indicating that it's going to seal itself. And there you go. Now it's pulled out all of the air, and we have a bag that can go in the freezer. Make sure you label it. Boom. And so I'll go put this up, and then I'm going to show you the next cool thing that this vacuum sealer can do. So tonight for dinner, I want to make some chicken fajitas, and we all know that if you can take time to marinate your meat ahead of time, it usually will end up with a better product. But most of the time we don't think to do it the night before. So if you can do it a couple of hours before, or even half an hour before, with a FoodSaver marinade attachment, this comes separate, and I also have a link down below, then it will impart a lot of flavor into your meat very quickly. When it removes all the air, it just like forces the liquid and marinade into the meat a little bit more quickly. So this is just a little bit vinegar, some oil, and some different seasonings. I've got smoked salt in here for a nice, good flavor for fajitas. And I'm just making sure, because this isn't a marinade that it's sitting down in. You can use a complete liquid marinade or like a brine or something, but I'm just got it where it's coating the chicken, and then we'll get it all sealed up. So there's a rubber seal that goes all the way around, and two little tabs here on the side that you want to line up, because when you need to go to open this, it takes some effort. So we're going to use the hose attachment because this one has just a little hole right here. And I'm going to set it to Marinade. This one has different models listed. I don't remember which one I ever use, so I think it's this one. Okay, so we're going to turn on the power. Did I not plug it in? There we go. And then on this one, there's an accessory button and a marinade button. So I'm going to hit marinate. And then I'm going to fast forward that footage because it only takes like less than a minute. Then I move it over to closed and lift this up. Now this is sealed shut because all the air is out of it. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you. I'm going to go ahead and open it like, okay, now it's been sitting in the refrigerator for many hours. No, it's literally right now. But so you can hear the air rushing back in, mostly because that's like literally my favorite sound ever. It's just so cool. So again, you just spin this knob to the open. I'm going to hold it right up to my microphone and you'll hear the air going back in. I don't know why. Science is fascinating. See, and now, boom, it opens up with ease. When there's no air, you cannot pull this open. All right, I'm going to go ahead and vacuum seal this again, just because I am having this for dinner. And then we'll go on to the next thing. Okay, so my chicken snug as a bug in the fridge, and I can cook that for dinner tonight. So here's another container option. And this one I use like if I want to put something in my refrigerator and I know I want to leave it in there, but it's not like I want to leave it in there so long that I need to freeze it. But even just vacuum sealing stuff will keep it fresh in your refrigerator longer than if you don't vacuum seal it. So it'll extend the shelf life. It's not the same thing as canning. It's not going to last you months and months and months, but it will extend different leftovers and things like that. Otherwise, you could also use it for dry storage. If you've got like granola or something that you want to keep longer in your pantry, it'll also keep it fresher for longer. The annoying thing is you do have to just reseal it every time. Okay, now just for funsies, because marshmallows and vacuum sealers are fun, I'm going to put some marshmallows in here and show you how this one works. Because this container, you need this attachment. And so the lid has a kind of oval shape thing. And again, it just sits on. There's no way to clasp it. It comes right off. We're going to set this on top and again I'm going to hit the accessory button this time. Oh, did it turn off? All right, so I'm going to just pull this off and see. Yeah, okay. Okay, well, these marshmallows are really old. Normally, if you put a marshmallow in a vacuum, they will puff up really big, but maybe it's because these are like hard. But the cool thing about this container is it's got this little indicator and it'll go down to show you that the air has been vacuumed out. And now, as you can see, again, I can't open, even if I'm pushing with with quite a bit of force, okay? So the air is completely out of here. And then to open it up, you push this button. Okay? So I'm very sad that that opened up. There we go. I'm sad our marshmallow experiment didn't work. These are really hard. I found them, I did a pantry clean out a couple days ago and I found them in the back of the pantry. Should have just thrown them away. Now I really will. Okay. Last cool thing to show you with this FoodSaver. All right, and saving the best for last, I think this is one of my favorite features of having my FoodSaver is being able to use this attachment for using it with mason jars. And it works with whatever brand. This one's Curve, Ball, Mason, whatever. And And you can buy the big attachment, and then I also have the small mouth. So this is the wide mouth jars, and then you can use the small mouth jars. So whatever size mason jar you want to use, you know, they all have a standard mouth size, so you can vacuum seal just a tiny little portion in a small jar or, you know, big quart. Okay, so the only things to keep in mind, so I vacuum sealed these already, and, you know, even without the ring, you know, it's on there completely tight, and you would just use your fingernails or the edge of a spoon or something to pop the seal. Unlike canning, you can reuse these lids over and over and over and over until either this rubber-ish silicone, whatever it is, gets messed up somehow, or in the case of this particular one, it got dented. It's not even that super noticeable, but I tried to use this one and I was like, okay, it just kept running and running and running. I'm like, not sealing. When I opened it up, there's a dent, so it didn't, I'm guessing it just wasn't able to form a correct seal. So I will go ahead and get rid of this one. But, you know, like this says chicken enchilada salsa on the top of it. So I reuse my lids all the time. So I like to bulk make up salads. My husband likes to have salad for lunch for almost every day. So I buy this pre-cooked chicken. My husband just likes to eat it cold. So it comes in the freezer section at my grocery store. I thaw it out in my fridge, and then I will put that at the bottom, and then I'll layer vegetables, and then I will cram it as tight packed as you can with the lettuce. And then he'll just shake this out into a bigger bowl to be able to eat his salad. So again, you just take a jar lid. This fits down on top. You use this sealer. And then once it's stopped, take that off and then pull this up, and the lid stays on it. So easy. And then I will make anywhere between 5 to 7 of these salads, and the last one on the last day is still as fresh as the first day that I make it. I even have apple slices in here. I didn't add lemon. They might get slightly brown, but really they stay pretty fresh. Sometimes I'll add raisins. I've got carrots and cucumber. Even the cucumber doesn't break down. It stays nice and crisp. And this is cut cucumber. I've got sweet peppers in here. I've got sugar snap peas. The only thing that I found that we really don't like to add is shredded shredded cheese. I will sometimes put shredded cheese on the top of like the first one that he'll eat that first day, but the moisture from the vegetables tends to break down the cheese. Cubed cheese, I'm not sure if I've used that in the salads or not, but oftentimes if he wants cheese in a salad, he'll just like add it after he's emptied out the bowl. So yeah, the bags, the containers, this thing just stores right inside of itself. I keep this just in my cabinet. I use it quite often, but I'm just kind of like a minimalist. I don't like a lot of things on my counters, but it's really pretty with the stainless steel. So it does look nice if you use it every day and you just want to keep it out. So I've had this, like I said, for about 8 years. So obviously I love it and I get so much use out of it. This is a non-sponsored video. This is my product. FoodSaver is not sponsoring this video in any way, shape, or form. I just really enjoy it, and so I wanted to share it with you, especially because I've used it in a couple of videos, and I've had people request like more in-depth tutorial and explanation about what it is and how it works. I am not FDA, so I'm not going to tell you how long things last specifically. You can Google whatever food that you're trying to vacuum seal and how long it will last in pantry, fridge, or the freezer. This is not the same thing as canning. So if it's a refrigerator food, it needs to go back in the refrigerator after it's been vacuumed, sealed. You cannot just put the salad in the pantry. It's not the same thing as canning. So like I have a friend who will can meat and then it's shelf stable. Vacuum sealing is not not the same as canning. It will extend the life of your food, but it doesn't extend it as long as if you canned the food. So even though you are using mason jars, keep that in mind. The other cool thing about having the attachments is the fact that if you are somebody who wants to use less plastics, you don't have to use the bags. You can just store in mason jars. So I hope that helps. So if you are interested in getting a FoodSaver and you don't want this model, this one has a lot of the features of all the other models. So you can maybe break down and figure out which ones you want versus which ones you don't want. I did just remember, I was looking down, I was like, oh, I forgot to talk about, there is this button right here for food when you're using the bags, dry food or moist food. So if you indicate to the machine that it is a much more moist food, like the one I showed earlier had more liquid in it, then it's not going to do quite as deep of a seal because it doesn't want to pull out all the liquid. And if it's a dry food, it will vacuum out for longer. The other thing is if you want to vacuum something that's more delicate, like maybe rolls or some kind of bread product, instead of using the vacuum button, you will use this pulse vac. So you can just hit the vacuum seal a couple of times until it pulls out enough air but doesn't deform your muffin. Because if you put, like for instance, a dinner roll in one of those plastic bags and just do a regular vacuum seal, it will flatten that thing and it will not poof up all the way when you let the air out. So you would just want to pulse back to get out some of the air, but you will leave some of the air in the muffin itself or the roll itself. So I think that covers everything. If you, this indicator tells me if the moisture tray is full and needs to be cleaned out. It doesn't come out, I don't think it comes out all the way. I think I usually just use a wet sponge to kind of clear it out. But if you have any other questions, I try to answer all of my commenters' questions that I can. So make sure you drop those down below. And thank you for watching. Until the next video, guys. Bye.